Hello everybody, Disciple here with Overwatch Curios. Pharah was the answer to the question, how do we bring a piece of old school FPS rocket play into Overwatch? Games like Quake and Tribes set the standard for fast-paced, direct line-of-sight rocket firing, and Pharah makes the transition pretty painless for fans of those games who feel right at home here. It took a lot of visual and mechanical iterations to go from sketched concept to Pharah that we have today, and we're going to take a look at that history and figure out what Pharah could have been had the team taken her in any number of other directions. Alright, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to cover, so let's get right into it. Back in early development, the idea for a rocket launching hero all started off with Jeff Goodman's original idea of a hero with the launcher and a jetpack. That was about it. It was a tried and true staple of FPS games, and the idea sounded pretty much simple enough. However, it took the Overwatch team a lot of different iterations before they settled on what we know now as Pharah. From the concept art, you can see a ton of different ideas that vary pretty wildly from one to the next. One of the earliest concepts of the rocket hero was a very simple design. A human male with a flight jacket, some kind of protective suit, aviators, and a jetpack with small wings protruding out of his back. The rocket launcher was round and simplistic in design as well. This hero is what the Overwatch team nicknamed Rocket Dude, and embodied that simple philosophy that Goodman began with. First off, the hero doesn't seem to have much of a security forces vibe like Pharah does now. In fact, he's a lot more Top Gun style and would have probably had the personality to boot. Live fast, die young, all or nothing. His confident appearance and attitude would have undoubtedly influenced all kinds of pieces to the hero, like his voice lines, interactions with other heroes, as well as his abilities, much like the backstories of the other heroes do now. It'd be no surprise to have pop culture references like maybe Danger Zone or even to Top Gun itself, or to see abilities that focus less on justice raining down from above like Pharah does, and more on being the best or the strongest at what he does. His jetpack is actually very interesting in that it's more like a jet than boosters strapped to a suit. This design would have been much more suited for aerobatic maneuvers than just launching into the air and hovering there. You could think more of a Buzz Lightyear style jetpack and you probably wouldn't be too far off. That type of design would drastically alter his entire kit, most likely, and his alignment in Overwatch would probably have been pretty much the same as it is now, maybe being friends with the fast ones like Tracer and having a lot of respect for Jack Morrison for his military prowess. Although he could have easily gone the rebel or mercenary route as well and been a little bit more like McCree, who kinda fights for both sides. There's another, much more humorous design to this train of thought from the dev team in the form of a more robust pilot style of hero with a flight suit, mustache, and more detailed rocket launcher. This guy just screams belly laughs and crude humor as well as being an old school ace pilot. This guy would be a huge evolution in personality over the previous art, focusing a lot more on his interaction style and overconfidence more than his fitness or abilities in the air. The flight suit is much more professional than that of the flight jacket in the previous sketch, and the wings on the jetpack are fully inverted this time, allowing for some probably interesting aerial maneuvers. Just like his predecessor, he'd probably focus more on those maneuvers instead of just hovering there like Pharah does. And his rocket launcher looks more like something taken off the wing of a fighter aircraft firing a lot of rockets in succession, rather than a single shot rocket launcher. Although with his rounder character design and his older appearance, he could have been designed to be much more of a blundering, bouncing pilot than a graceful bird-like character that we have now. We could have witnessed this guy carelessly and helplessly flailing from rooftop to rooftop, launching all sorts of rockets in various directions, maybe as more of a demolitionist before Junkrat existed, which could have been really hilarious and added a lot to the humorous depth of the game. Both of these designs share a lot in common though, mainly that they're a departure from the personality, style, background, and overall hero design that Pharah ended up at, and lean towards more of a wild, more sporadic hero that may have been a hit-and-run skirmisher than a calculated range damage dealer that gets to hover off at a distance. I certainly know that I would love this character to be voiced by Ben Brode if it did make it into the game, as that laugh would be absolutely infectious. Another sketch on the concept art panel shows a young lady in a very anime-inspired suit. Think Gundam Wing and you've probably got a spot on. This suit has an extremely over-exaggerated jetpack with large wings and rockets protruding from the top. This could easily have been the first idea for the Rocket Queen's ultimate, Rocket Barrage, having the rockets come out of the suit alongside her, launching directly from the handheld rocket launcher. Interestingly enough, her midsection and head are completely uncovered here, which isn't really very tactical. However, it does allow the hero's face and build to be seen, adding a lot of visual substance to the hero. There doesn't seem to be much justice here, as the confident look of the hero, as well as the lack of said armor pieces, seems much more risky and confident than sullen and reserved. At first glance, you can almost picture a diva-style attitude combined with the firepower of Pharah. Since Diva had presumably not been made yet, this hero could have easily taken that character story and molded it to fit more in line with her origins. Snarky and sarcastic and full of attitude, this version of the Rocket Queen may have just been ready to mouth off to her friends in Overwatch as quickly as she would destroy her enemies. The way the suit is designed also lends to this, as it wouldn't be a stretch to see her popping out of her suit and maybe setting it to self-destruct like Diva does now. This very well could have been a predecessor to Diva's mech, but they felt like they wanted to go two different directions, and so they split it up into the two very separate heroes that we have today. The next design in the process feels much more at home with what we play now. Taking another step in the jet fighter wing style jetpack, this design much more resembles a suit of armor instead of just a jetpack strapped to someone's back or to a mecha suit. Including all of the bells and whistles, this suit comes equipped with a helmet, stabilizers on the feet, as well as a chest piece resembling the nose of an aircraft. We can see in the last two iterations that the team actually decided that the hero should be female instead of male, and swapped out the old nickname for the more appropriate Rocket Queen. Her kit here may have easily been a mix of the two ideas. Confident and fast moving, being in the front line and full of action with a background in justice and order. Or this may have been the point where the team took her to the place where she aligned more with Pharah than Rocket Dude. Her story and ideals, voice lines, and interactions began to take shape here, and this is also where the team began to seek out voice actors and figure out just what the Rocket Queen should look and feel like. The next piece of art actually seems to combine both of the previous ideas into one hero. Near full suit of armor, including a helmet, legs, jetpacks, and stabilizers, but in a much more sharp and sleek anime or mecha type package. Her rocket launcher is quite different from the normal cylindrical models seen in the other concept pieces, and the entire suit is very sci-fi in design. This is the first iteration of adjustable wings that are actually mounted on the shoulders instead of a static jetpack on the back or the wings themselves being the jet turbines. The midsection is still armorless here, perhaps trying to stick with the possible idea of ejecting from the suit, or perhaps keeping the hero more flexible in battle. This design seems much faster than the others, with all of the sharp angles in the wings, which begs the question of afterburners or some other kind of mobility option other than just a boost into the air, but it was certainly more aerodynamic altogether. From Rocket Dude to Rocket Queen to Pharah Amari, the design has seen some pretty serious iteration and changes from the very beginning to the point we have now. At one point, the dev team had many people drumming up ideas to throw into the pot, to the point where the team had to actually sit down and ask itself, what do you want this character to feel like? How do you want to feel as if you're moving through space as you're using your abilities, from locomotion to the specificity of your weapons? There was so much going on with the design of the hero that the team just had to stop and figure out exactly what the hero needed to be and what felt right. They came to a much more distilled version of Pharah, emphasizing on the most important and crucial parts of the hero that needed to be implemented for gameplay and story elements. The design of the hero was bottom up, according to the team, where they started with the gameplay mechanics, then designed the hero's lore, visuals, and specifics around that afterwards. At this point, the team had a great working design, both aesthetically and mechanically, of Pharah that could be playtested and adjusted during the alpha and beta. She retained the full armor suit, albeit a much more aerodynamic style with thrusters, stabilizers, and retractable wings, and she dons the helmet that resembles a bird a bit. Her rocket launcher is back to the sleek, cylindrical design, but it's still pretty menacing and intimidating. And you can see just enough of her face to complement her military look and feel as she stands there at attention. The evolution of Pharah continued right up until the closed beta. Abilities were tweaked and adjusted to get the hero to a place where she fit into the universe, and all of her abilities and nuances made sense. For example, during the Friends and Family Alpha, Pharah's concussive blast actually did a ton of damage to shields and barriers in addition to the knockback, which was actually super OP. And of course, there have been tweaks to her kit since the game went live, but we had the finalized mechanics in place just in time for the beta, which players have gravitated to and stuck with ever since. All in all, Pharah seems to be one of the most varied heroes in design concepts and ideas that the game has seen so far. Most of the other heroes' concepts stick to a pretty similar approach in both design and mechanics, but Pharah has gone through just about every iteration a rocket dude could before landing on something comfortable for the game. Pharah could have easily ended up being an airborne frontline brawler, an aerobatic fighter pilot tossing rockets everywhere, or a clumsy old pilot with too much tech on his hands. Instead, we ended up with the Ringer of Justice, the Order in the Chaos, and one of the more powerful heroes in the game. As always guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, we'd love it if you subscribe for more Overwatch content in the future. Anyway, I'd love to know what you guys think about the Rocket Dude, the Rocket Queen, or Pharah as she is today, and how you feel about that character coming from something more like Quake. I seriously love to read all your guys' comments, and until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.